What is up, race fans? Welcome into Trust the Profits for Breeders' Cup week. I welcome back my doubling down friend, Vinny. Vinny, we've both been very busy outside of horse racing, but you got to put everything down when it's Breeders' Cup weekends to go through this fantastic fields that we have, right? You can't miss this weekend.
Right. This is last big weekend of the year. Very exciting. So I'm ready for it.
We're happy to be brought to you today by Iron Bets, who's launching this week. Go check out Iron Bets for your betting purposes on the horse racing and for Breeders' Cup. They're giving some free bankrolls away. You can use the promo code TRUST, T-R-U-S-T, so you know we sent you over there. It's a great and friendly horse player services team, and if you have any questions, you can check them out over at ironbetsracing.com and check them out at Iron Bets on your X. Vinny, usually for doubling down, we pick out two races and we walk through them and we give our tickets. I figured because we have such a plethora, we can't do 28 doubling downs. Let's oh, I guess we could. How long you got?
Right, we could.
Come tune in Friday and Saturday. We'll be live here on the channel all day. Maybe Vinny can stop by, and when you do, we'll do a little daily double live and in the moment. But I figured since we're not going to talk all night, let's try and pick a few spots over the course of the 2 days where maybe a daily double makes sense. And I think, as we've talked about so many times on the shows as we've done together, there's two strategies that we usually fall in line with when you're putting together a daily double. It's a favorite doesn't necessarily need to be a favorite, but a horse that you really love and you single, and then maybe you got a race on either side of that you can spread a little bit to try and make some money off of that strong opinion you have, and maybe you do double in and a double out. Or if it's a wide open race and you got a lot of opinions, you'd like some nice prices, maybe you put two races back to back with some of those prices that you like and try to get a nice big score between the two daily doubles. I think on Friday we walk right into a couple horses who look really, really tough. Starting off on race 6 with the Juvenile Turf Sprint, I think this horse coming over from Japan, Ikoro Sieg, is absolutely one that I'm going to center my tickets around in the 5.5 furlong race on the turf. This horse last time out set track records over in Japan, and watching the replay, Vinny, didn't even really look like needed much effort to do what he did. And I think he comes into this race with an excellent shot. Obviously, Governor Sam for the U.S. is a horse that's had quite a bit of success and has looked strong, including 4 victories in a row, including that Indian Summer last time out at Keeneland's. So obviously, it's maybe necessarily not going to be a walk in the park for Ikoro Sieg, but this horse sired by Twirling Candy was just ultimately impressive, putting up a 100 and then a 96 from an Equibase speed figure standpoint. We will share race lens here for you so you can see the past performances of Ikoro Sieg with Christophe Lemaire aboard. Do you think am okay here getting through singling Ikoro Sieg?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like a 20-something-year-old track record he broke easily last time out. If he runs that race, they're all running for second. It's one of those things with the turf sprints. Like, your horse gets out of the gate well, you're usually in a good spot. There's just very little room for error in these 5, especially at 5 furlongs. So if he breaks well, I think he's the horse to beat. He's 7-2 on the morning line. I was saying to you before we went on, I think he's going to be a lot shorter than that. I think he's probably going to be your favorite, and I think he's going to be. He's already the morning line favorite. I think he's going to be a pretty heavy favorite. I think he's definitely sub 2-1, in my opinion. But I think he's a very logical horse to single in this on Breeders' Cup Friday.
Yeah, Big Evs won this race last year. The same connections come back with Big Mojo, who's your number 3 horse there, with a morning line of 4-1. The other horse I was concerned about was your number 2, Asterius, who has a 14% chance here winning according to Equibase. This horse sired by Maymas, who's been absolutely excellent with 2-year-olds lately, including 4 2-year-old stakes winners in a 2-week period in September. So horses have been the young horses have done very well out of Mahimus. Very consistent. He actually beat Big Mojo last out in the Flying Childress, and he's had improving times at 5 furlongs. So, Ikoro Sieg to me, especially if you talk about what the price is going to be, probably have to single. but maybe you use both of those on this ticket. 2 and 8 would be the ones that I would use to get through race number 6. Then, Vinny, you talked about the double that you like, which leans right into the second half of what my double will be, and we landed on the same horse. So in race 7, you're going Japan.
Yeah, I really like American Bikini here, and it made my decision a lot easier with the scratch of non-compliant for Baffert, who was the other horse I was really considering using. I think this is, in my opinion, this is one of Japan's best chances of winning a Breeders' Cup race this year. I think they're in for a big weekend, as I do like a lot of the Japan horses that are coming over. This one gets Ryan Moore on. I don't see Ryan Moore jumping on this horse if it wasn't live. I'm gonna guess this horse is probably your. It probably ends up being your favorite as well. Some of these morning lines I don't think were fantastic for the Breeders' Cup races, but this horse has done really nothing wrong. I think this horse is only getting stronger. Would not be surprised if this horse is one of the more impressive winners on Friday's card. Uh, the only other horse I would throw in the double at this point would be the number 3 Immersive for Brad Cox, and that's really just because it's Cox and Godolphin. I love Godolphin horses. So that would be the other horse, but I'm really leaning on the number 9 for Japan American Bikini.
Yeah, and Sean and Tim agreed with you last night on immersive as being a pretty big threat in here as well. I think absolutely American Bikini fits. So then for your second leg, you're going to jump over to the Juvenile Fillies turf, 1 mile, and I think you're basically feeling in this race how I felt in race 6, which is you have a pretty strong contender who we all believe is probably your most likely winner over the course of Breeders' Cup weekend.
Yeah, Lake Victoria definitely gives off the vibes of potential superstar. She's already got 2 grade 1s to her name and really has looked very impressive in both. So, and nobody else in this race has really done anything close to that. Um, if this horse fires, she should win, and she should win easily. This is definitely one of the better horses that O'Brien is sending over for this weekend, in my opinion. So I think this is one of those horses. If you like, you single. If you don't, you try to beat with a number of prices.
Yeah, and you can see right here in my Equibase race lens, it highlights in blue the highest class in the race of all the horses and the highest speed figure. And Lake Victoria checks off both of those, putting up at 115 in that Group 1 last. And just watch that last race. That's the only race I've watched of hers, was her last time out. And you almost don't have to look beyond that because it was just so visually impressive.
Yeah, both of her grade 1s have been very impressive. Like this is definitely one that is that if she wins here, she's definitely going to be a. I think she'll win a couple more next year before they retire her. She looks like she's got a bright future ahead as a brood mare, especially with Frankel being the sire.
If you want to go Lake Victoria into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, which is obviously the marquee race for the 2-year-olds on the dirt, there's 2 horses that I was interested in. East Avenue, to me, is absolutely one that I think has an opportunity to run a big race. Brendan Walsh loves this horse, thinks he could be his next big thing for sure. Tyler Gaffleone, this is the horse that won the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland. Love the fact that the horse has the victory over the distance, something that you want to pay attention to as 2-year-olds. The speed figures have continued to increase. The workouts have been solid at Churchill. I think East Avenue is absolutely one that could be sitting on a contender with Ghost Zapper on top of the dam. You know, there's going to be some speed coming out of East Avenue. And then I never thought I would say this until an hour ago. I'm intrigued by Citizen Bull, sorry. Um, the fact that the horse has a victory at the distance and over the track kind of made me think maybe this is the one that Baffert's bringing in to win on his so-called home court, right? So Citizen Bull at 10-1. That's another thing that obviously had me very intrigued. Sirebite into Mischief. So East Avenue and Citizens Bull, but I know who you like, and I know They're two horses that I can't argue with anybody else picking. That's both the 5, Jonathan's Way, and the 10, Chancer McPatrick, who you said is absolutely a Derby horse with the sire Mackenzie. Mackenzie's been absolutely on fire with these horses. And Jonathan's Way, this is the reason I like these two horses with Vacoma on the top. Look at Race Lens popping up for me with a success score of 8.3 and an ROI of 32%. Vacoma's on the dirt. Just, really, really great solid start for Vacoma and McKinsey. Do you have a preference between those two?
I would lean Jonathan's Way just because of the way that the west that this track usually runs, with favoring a little more towards you needing speed and Chancer McPatrick. As much as it is to watch him come flying late, that's a tough strategy here. So I think he's like, if he wins with that running style here, he is much the best. I do expect to see these two horses along with East Ave on the Derby Trail next year. And I'm hopefully all of them stay healthy and they all come back around like late February, early March, and we see a rematch in May of next year. But yeah, I would take Jonathan's Way here a little bit over Chancer McPatrick just because of the running style. But both of them on their debut, both of them debuted at Saratoga, and both of them after the race was like, okay, like these are two serious horses. So it's nice to see them end up here. I hope they both run good and just get home safe, so we can see them next year.
Absolutely. Let's flip over. We wanted to flip over to Saturday as well while we have a chance. Where did you think that you could make some money on a double on Saturday's card?
So
You surprised me.
I went to the Distaff race number 6. I really like Awesome Result for Japan here against Torpedo Anna. In my opinion, they're the only two, and they're the only two that could win this race. I think you're really hoping for some weird stuff to happen if you're going to go with anybody else outside of these two. I think the campaign seems to be catching up with Anna. Her last race wasn't fantastic. I think the Travers figure came back much higher than it should have. She got a 111 buyer, I believe, for the Travers. I think that was a little high for the day. She came back in the cotillion. She won. It wasn't impressive, and then Gunsong had zero excuse last weekend to lose that race to Tarifa. So in that race, the time didn't really flatter her much either. I don't know. I think like I really think this is a 2-horse race. I'm gonna go with the price with Japan, as Awesome Results just done nothing wrong. She's undefeated. She's looked very impressive doing it every step of the way. She comes in off of a dominating win. She won that one easily. I think she's a logical horse, and at second choice, because Anna's going to take all the money. She's just going to have so much value for really a coin flip, in my opinion, of what this race is.
I'll zoom in for the people because it's not often that you get a nice clean. It's almost the perfect game in baseball or the perfect game in bowling. I mean, look at this. These are her 7 starts. It's one, and these aren't
Yeah,
close. I mean, 2 back was by a neck, and then over to the left here, look at your speed figures. I mean, just consistently over 100, no problem.
yeah,
Whereas you look at Torpedo Anna, at least from a speed figure standpoint, has the increase that you want to see, 94, 99, 105, 110, 112. And just as pretty, what that second is. That second's behind Fierceness in the Travers. So
yeah,
nothing to sneeze at. I mean, even though we
no,
lost Idiomatic, which really would have added a ton of intrigue into this race,
yeah,
you're
that
still getting a nice matchup here. And you get the USA Japan always is fun, and it's going to make for an intriguing
yeah, and
edition.
it's one of those I mean, if you have the bankroll for it and you like other prices in this sequence, probably use both. If you like other prices and you're going to toss some chalk later, I think these two are the logical two to use in your sequences. And like depending on the size of your bankroll, you can't use both. I'm not going to use both. I'm going to single Japan and hope I'm right here. If Anna beats me, she beats me.
Yep, and you can always think about backing that up, Vinny, with what Tim, Riders Up Tim said, which was his biggest or his most confident exactor on the weekend is Torpedo Anna into an American Bikini. So you could also back yourself up that way. So if Torpedo Anna does beat you, you can cover your ticket by having that exacta
Yeah,
maybe.
right. Yeah. So it's yeah, and that exacta probably pays 5 to 1, which will be
Yeah,
cool.
we were thinking 4-1 when we were talking,
Yeah,
and what's wrong
four
with
to
that?
one, 5 to 1. I mean, and that's gonna be great for a 3 to 5 over a 2 to 1.
Yeah, absolutely. So you picked the hard one to walk into, I think, because we had great opinion in race 6, but to get your double, you got to get race 7. And to me, this was a race that, at least as of right now, I don't necessarily want any part of, just because I think of how. I mean, look at these Irish horses: Argentinian, France, Japan. They're all coming over in this race, and they're all going to run big. And you got to be right on the one that you're going to choose. Which one is your choice of
Yeah,
poison?
yeah, I love Rebels Romance. I have liked this horse since he was a 2-year-old. Um, he is just if he runs his race, like, he should win. Like, that's kind of what it comes down to. If he runs his race, he should win. Like, his last, you look at it, his last few races, like, he really has done nothing wrong. He's beaten a lot of the horses a lot of the other Euros in this field already. I just think he's the horse to beat. He's on the outside, so hopefully he stays out of traffic trouble. Uh, that would be I think that would be the real thing that hurts him. But he's also going to be forwardly placed against this field, so I do think I think it is going to be tougher for a horse like Farbridge, who's had recent success over good fields, but really those have been paceless races where he's been able to go to the front. I don't think if they ride him for the front and they let Rebels Romance sit off of him, I think that's going to be a tough thing for Farbridge to hold off. So I'm gonna go with Rebels Romance here and hope that I'm right, that he runs his race and he's just good.
And that's just a single. You're that confident.
Yeah, I like a couple other horses in that race. I like the 3 and the 4 a little bit. The 10's intriguing. The other O'Brien horse. But at the end of the day, I'm kind of just I feel like I with those other horses, I'm really hoping something goes wrong with Rebels Romance, and if Rebels Romance just runs his race, he's the horse to beat. He's just too consistent. Even like just looking at time form, like he's consistently above a 115, and like a lot of the others, like that's kind of where they top at. That's kind of where they like top out is 115. So like if somebody runs a career day and beats him, they beat him. I think he's just too consistent, and if he runs an A race, I think he just wins easily.
Very good. This is doubling down. What we will do now is just get your pick on the classic real quick, because we can't walk away without knowing who Vinny likes in the biggest race of the weekend. Is there a horse that you have on top yet, or are you still doing your work?
Yeah, I do have a horse on top. Surprise, it's a Japan horse.
Nice.
I landed on Forever Young.
Okay, great.
I just yeah, I just think he's good. Just think he's very good. I hope we get 6 to 1. I feel like we're not going to, but that's fine.
Yeah, he's a horse I was huge on in the Derby. I touted him everywhere nonstop, and
Hmm.
almost made me look like a genius. Um,
He looked great. I used him in a contest on on Derby Day, and it was thankfully it was a win play show contest, and that race kind of won me the whole thing because he paid like $11 the show, and in a in a contest adding show, the $11 was huge.
I'm just disappointed that you didn't come on to doubling down with Senior Busco running in the classic, and
Oh my god.
make up for the errors of the past that you've made here.
I know, right? I know. He's become the horse that we always text about when he wins.
That's my
So
boy. That's my
I think
boy.
I wouldn't rule. He's one of those horses in this spot where like I think it's too tough of a spot for him to win, but it would not shock me if he runs second or third here. I think he's gonna be a huge price. Same with like Tappet Trice. Him and Tappet Trice, I kind of put in the same boat in this race, where they're both talented enough where they could definitely run big and hit the board. I think you just depending. I just don't know if that's going to be good enough to like actually win. I think they're gonna. I think there's definitely going to be a horse or two that can beat them when it happens. But second or third, I think they could definitely blow up Exactas or Tries.
Funny little angle that I don't even know why I pulled this one time, but I clearly did. So it's morning line favorites who are going turf to dirt. 31% win percentage, has a success score of 8. Anything over like 7.2 is usually really, really good. The
Oh,
ROI is a little bit low, but that's obviously because this angle is pulling the morning line favorite. So you're obviously going to have to win a lot in order to cover that. So an ROI of minus 18% over the course of a year of 2,100 races is actually not that awful. And the angle pops up here on the horse we all know that's making the biggest move from turf to dirt, and that's City of Troy. Real quickly, Vinny, just curious, is it first time trying this? We don't want any part of that, especially a 5-2. I think that's probably where I'm thinking. You as well.
I mean I'm gonna use him,
Hmm.
but I'm only going to use him on tickets because I think I can go skinny earlier. And early in this horse's career, they had talked about him being their Derby horse, and it just never happened. So like I don't know if he is just strictly a turf horse. I think the price for going turf to dirt is definitely going to be tough for a lot of people to swallow to play him straight up.
Hmm.
I'm just using him on my multi tickets.
Makes sense.
He won't be a straight up play for me, but I would hate to lose to a horse like that he just seems good. He's not going to get. I don't think he gets bet down off that 5-2 line. So I still think he's going to provide value in the multis.
Last question before we get out of here. Next is a horse I'm interested in. I like the horse cutting back. It's better than I think doing something longer that they hadn't been before. The pace obviously scenario is a little strange. I put in the chat about being way out in the 14. You thought that was actually advantageous for next. Next going to be on your tickets as well.
Yep, he's going to be on my ticket as well. I think he is. I mean, we haven't really seen what he's capable of because every race he's been in, basically, except for that one race back in May of last year when he lost, like he has been a walkover. Like what he won, like what he's won his last 3 by 40 plus lengths. Like yeah, look at that. I mean, 25, 22. Like he was beating up on a bad division. Like the other
Yeah.
marathoners are not great, and like he is just good. So we finally get to see how he does. He did beat Krupe very easily a couple times, I believe,
Hmm.
who ran very good against similar horses. I forget what race Krupe ran in, but ran all
The
right.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, like ran all right in a couple of those. Like
Then the
what
Woodward.
other
He
race?
ran in the Woodward and the
Yeah,
Whitney.
he ran in the Wood. He ran in the Whitney. So he's kind of one of those where he's run good again, or like not like great, but he's run kind of competitive against the same class level. So it does make for next to really fit here. You just don't know with him, and like at the price, if he stays at this 8-1 price, which I think would be crazy, crazy like that, I think he should be half of that. But if he's
I
around
don't know
that eight
about
to
that.
one price, I think he's gonna stay around this 6-1, 8-1 because
I think you got too
I think
many other options to let him
right.
go that
Uh,
low. At 4-1,
I
I don't want anything to do with him.
right.
But
We don't know what the bottom for him is though. I mean, for all we know, he could have a devastating turn of foot. Like he hasn't even needed to be push button this year because he's just walking over these races. So
yeah,
and I think like I said, the outside I think is really good for him because he's going to avoid traffic trouble. Yes, he's going to run farther, but you're not really concerned about him running
he likes
farther.
running
Be-
farther.
Right. So he can. They
They
can
should make
park
him stay on the outside. Make the race a mile and a
right.
half for him.
They can probably park. That's honestly, I think that's what they'll probably do. Is they will park him 5 wide, and he'll just run his race. And if that is good enough to win, so be it. If it's not good enough to win, we'll see where he finishes. I don't think they make any attempt to draw next to a horse or anything because he hasn't seen a horse. So I think they just keep him in the middle of the track and they just see what if his time is good enough to win, he wins. I really think he's just running against him. He's really just running against the clock, in my opinion. If they're gonna ride him smart, because I don't see why they would try to put him in the pack with everybody else.
That's an amazing strategy. We want him to go longer, so we can do 5 wide around both turns and let him
Right.
go
That's
that way.
right. And if it works out, it works out. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, I just don't see them trying to squeeze him between horses and rating him right off of somebody. I really think they just park him outside. He makes his one move like he always does. And if that's good enough to win and hold off everybody else, so be it. So yeah, that's where I'm at with next. But at the price, I don't see how you can ignore it when he's been absolutely crushing everything he's been put up against.
I agree with you on Forever Young. Will definitely be near the top of my tickets in the Breeders' Cup Classic. We made it through. Throw in your comments, doubles that you think we should attack. And stay tuned. As I said, we'll be live Friday and Saturday right here on the channel for all the coverage on Breeders' Cup. Just some excellent edition of the Classic for all the angles that we just talked about. Obviously, the talent we talked about in some of the other races. You get a little bit of everything thrown into a pot, and it's really exciting for us horse players. Vinny, thanks so much again.
Not a problem. Nice being here.
Please like and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Colin Sheehan. He's Vinny Blonde. Good luck, everybody.